All right. All right, man. So, everyone who's watching, this is Satyam Mano, friend up in Canada, member of the inner circle and everything. Satyam, if you'd like to intro yourself, who you are, where you come from, what the background is,
Yep,
things along those lines.
for sure. So my name is Satyam. I've been in the online. I just turned 23. I've been in the online business space since I was like 18, 19. Um, yeah, I mean, I started initially in the agency space. Eventually, I got into sales and got back, built another lead generation agency, and then eventually built a recruiting business. And then, yeah, eventually I stumbled upon Vince, his ad, and I, decided to give it a go. And yeah, so yeah, previously just been in the online business space for a few years now, and yeah, so that's me. And placed over 140 sales reps. Did a lot of recruiting stuff, but I was like, you know what, I want to give this a go, and it was a good decision. So
Yeah, you mentioned just there that you initially saw one of my ads and everything. I think one thing that would be, kind of getting into like the whole like mechanism and how everything works and whatnot. If you were to say like one of the things that caught your interest about the initial like sales messaging of what the thing was, what would that be?
I remember you bring. I forgot what it was, but it was something regarding the back end of fulfillment
Mm,
and the hook. I don't. Let me see here, but it was something about how essentially, like, again, like you could run the business in a way where it was like scalable without being stuck on the back end, right?
yeah.
And if you're an agency, bro, you know fulfillment can be a serious pain, right? Especially if you're growing and acquiring a lot of customers. And so at the time, I was like, this is very interesting because in a way, I wasn't a huge fan of fulfillment, and I'm like, this could potentially be like this could potentially be a game changer for me. So I'm like, you know what? Let me look into this. So I don't remember exactly the specific wording, but there was something about it that you talked about regarding that made me like, you know what? This is really interesting. And the way you presented it as well, I was like, okay, this guy comes across as pretty legitimate.
Yeah, and that's another thing too is like cuz everyone has everyone has case studies and everyone somehow made everyone millions of dollars, but to actually create something that is genuinely like a unique method of accomplishing an outcome
Mm-hmm.
is very uncommon anymore. Like it's super rare to see. So speaking of like mechanism and fulfillment and whatnot, um, in terms, you and I were like briefly talking right before this about advertising and fulfillment, so on and so forth. I guess a good way or a good segue is essentially like what was like the biggest epiphany you had going through the fulfillment and everything compared to everything that you had worked on in the past or tried in the past.
Yeah, I mean, this is gonna sound super simple for people, but like acquiring a customer without being on a call for me, that was huge.
You're right. Yeah.
Because realizing I was like, dude, this guy just paid me money. I never talked to him. Or I didn't have a team member that had to talk to him in
Yeah.
order for money to transact. Like that was probably the biggest thing. Because now I also know it's possible. Keep in mind, I launched ads within like a 24 hours. I was able to make a sale or two. So it's like I was like, yo, this is
I still remember when you sent me that message. You were like, "Yeah," for like first two sales in, and I was like, "God damn right."
oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. That's like that was like one of the biggest things. There's some other things too, because like I learned so much in a
Yeah.
relatively short amount of time. Because keep in mind, like there's guys who are going to be enrolling in this program. It's like if you have a marketing background, you understand copywriting, certain things like that. Like you're going to have an advantage going into this. But if you don't, like I never ran ads before, right? I didn't have that much of a market background, and I still was able to like take action and make it work. So in a way, this is like you break it down in a way where it's like it's as straightforward as it gets, and there's like it's pretty detailed as well. So it's just a matter of like having a bias to action, and like the blueprint's there, right? So
Yeah. It's also very interesting that like you mentioned that thing about having like marketing and copywriting background is super, not like a cheat code necessarily. It's not like it's necessarily like mandatory. Obviously it helps, but that main thing about that first time you ever actually can get, like, you get a conversion and you get someone to transact with you without having to do a sales call, especially if you come from a background like from agency and whatnot, and like sales calls are like bread and butter, and like that's how everything is done.
Mhm.
To like actually have the skill set to be able to like, no, I can get people to give money without having to talk to them directly. And another crazy thing is that that was also done facelessly in your case,
Yeah.
which is another literally a whole nother level of like depth and complexity to it.
Yep. Yep. I thought it was going to take me probably like a lot longer, to be honest. I was okay going into it where I knew I might not have to make my first sale within the first week or two. Like, honestly.
Yeah.
But you had conviction that it was going to work pretty quickly. And so I was like, okay, let's see how that goes, you know? And then
Yeah.
was able to make my first sale pretty quickly. So that was cool.
Yeah. And another thing that's interesting too is that once you like run the ads after everything is built and you get the sales, this is like almost like a piece of advice to like future people who join and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing that's very interesting as well is that you build it up to be a way bigger deal inside your head than it actually is. Because once you launch, you start getting conversions. You're like, I was stressing about this a lot more than I needed to be
Yep.
prior to launching.
Yes. Yes. 10x.
That's very common with low ticket, because with the fun, and you probably know this now,
Yeah.
with high ticket versus low ticket, something happens in your brain when you build something like direct to checkout, not sales call based, where like you, and it comes from a good place of wanting to like get every detail right before starting, but you almost have to treat it in a way of similar to high ticket, where it's like, no, it's okay to like build this over time. Like it's not people make it way more stressful than it needs to be.
Yeah, me included, which is also
Yeah.
why it took me a lot longer to launch because there's a level of fear and also, in a way, lack of self
Yeah.
belief because you don't know it's possible and you think everything has to be a certain way. And
Yeah.
so once that happens, then it's like you unlock a different level. And it's like, now I fully get what you're talking about, right? But I had to go through the thing in order.
Yeah. And it's where, even though I tried communicating that to you, where probably during the process, you probably thought I was being way more chill about it than I should have been.
Yeah.
But it actually is like one of those things like, hey, like this is a lot more, like a lot less stressful than you make it. Because the first time you ever launch something low ticket, you're like triple checking every detail. You're like, is this button right? Is this email correct? When it's like,
Yeah.
chill out. Like it's, the worst thing that could possibly happen is someone ask for a refund for like 20 or $30. That is the worst thing that could possibly happen.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world.
100%.
In terms of like other, I guess you could say like epiphanies or other like, maybe not like mental overcomings,
Mm-hmm.
but things along those lines where, expectations to reality that was different. Not even just about program, but just like things that we went over and like concepts introduced.
I would say how like even creating the upsells, like like the idea
I
of,
mean, just in general, yeah.
that was interesting in terms of how you looked at like lifetime value per customer. That was interesting too, because I was
Can
like,
you elaborate?
so in a way, I was like, okay, well, they're just gonna buy something for 20 bucks or whatever, right? Like, I don't think they're gonna buy like that much more. And then you kind of introduce the concept of like, okay, you could get lower ticket customers to buy a lot more by having offers that stack and make sense. The
Yeah.
way you taught it made so much sense. Like, here's the crazy thing too. I've used that in the agency, right? My business, in the agency business,
Yep.
to so it's like, I'm like, okay, like there's ways where you could implement like the offer stacking and like making sure the offers are congruent, but and an increasing lifetime value per customer. And the crazy thing is with this model, it doesn't require technically more fulfillment, like more fulfillment work. You know, like not that much more on the back.
Well, you know, it's a really good way of thinking about it. Like just for people that are watching that are unaware, the main thing we go over inside of Website Factories is this concept that I created called Layer Zero, where it's about starting your fulfillment from the absolute like baseline foundations of a customer's life, business, whatever it may be. And by starting it there and then offers ascending upwards, where you essentially like flip your customer's journey.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like there's a layer of recursion there where it's like if you flip your customer's journey on its head, that is the order in which you should fulfill someone. And what's funny is that can also be applied to high ticket models as well. And that ends up providing better fulfillment for them because their foundations are more like correct, just outright, which means they get better results. You get better testimonials and case studies. And it also makes your fulfillment, no matter low ticket or high ticket, more templatizable, meaning you can run higher volume without as much operational drag.
100%. Yeah.
On that note of like, I guess you could say like when it came to like upsells and other things along those lines, or maybe not even upsells, but just other epiphanies regarding
Oh yeah.
fulfillment. Good.
One that's obvious too is how the way like website factories work. It's like this is something that's like simple, but it made so much more sense on like how you could acquire customers and make them worth. Like again, come back to the lifetime value thing, but in a way, getting customers like you could have an offer and acquire a lot more customers, and the reason like you break down the reason why, and essentially you're getting them at a different stage. Like well, let's an agency
Yep.
service, it's like you're getting them at a further stage. With the website factories, you get them at a much earlier stage, if not one of the first one or two stages, and therefore you can sell them more stuff down the line, which enables you to increase lifetime value per customer, but also you can just sell it to way more people. So you're
Exactly.
so much
That's
bigger. That was a huge thing too. Like when I realized that, I was like, holy shit, like this makes so much sense. And
yeah, exactly. Like if you sell something, and it's funny because this even applies to like, I can see like high ticket website as well. High ticket website doesn't matter, like anything marketing related and whatnot. What's very interesting is that what's the word I'm looking for? You accidentally pigeonhole yourself out of like 98% of your market when you do. Once again, high ticket is not a bad business model. It is absolutely fantastic. You can build literally an 8-figure business off per year business off just high ticket, not knocking it at all. But what the combination of high ticket and also a website offer together allows you to basically create a lifetime customer because you met them right at the beginning.
yeah,
Which is unfucking real. If you like in the grand scheme of things, if you think about it.
yeah. Not only that, it's like you're profitable on the front end. So
Yeah.
even if you break even, if you have something mid ticket, high ticket, you can sell on the back end, you're going to be more than fine. But this model
Yeah.
enables you to actually be profitable within month one, if not month one, even earlier than that.
Well, day one, literally.
So it's like, I mean, that itself is a glitch, right? So yeah,
Yeah, and it's funny because that also gives you more scaling margin too. Because like when you have the entire machine set up where you're front end profitable, getting recurring, and clocking upsells on the back end, and obviously on a per niche basis, the pricing of the upsells and whatnot is going to vastly change. That's a given.
right. Yeah,
But there's so much like beauty in the model because it's like you know what sacred geometry is?
sacred geometry. No, let me.
The idea like because there's certain like ratios and mathematical formulas that appear in like different formats of biology, right? Like
Mhm.
shells and flowers, for example, have the same like ratio in how they, like how
Oh
the
yeah,
petals and like the
yeah,
shells move are splayed out and whatnot.
yeah.
it's kind of very similar here, where with the, even though, like, don't get me wrong, like the offer naming and stuff is like intentionally like a little bit cheesy to be like eye catching, it's actually very like so foundationally sound, in my opinion, that it's like, yeah, it makes sense why they run for so long and acquire so many customers. It's like it's just crazy how like deep it goes. It's simple, but it's almost like beautiful in a way, because of like it's so like, huh, how come no one's ever thought of that?
Right.
Yeah, from your standpoint, I think another really good thing to hit on would be like, what would you say, or another thing that you thought was something that like you not maybe not struggled with, but more along the lines of like something you didn't know how to do, or something that was an overcoming for you that was like, oh wait, that was actually like way easier than I thought it was.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the like two things, like the ads themselves. Like I was overthinking that initially, and then you made it was just like really straightforward. But also the lander, right? Like that was big, right? It was a lot simpler and quicker to build than I even expected, right?
Yeah.
Because again, like I mean, again, there's like an internal software that makes it a lot quicker that you built. Like it makes it so much smoother, but also in a way, again, I don't want to say, I don't know how much I can say, but like it's a really straightforward process where it's
Mhm.
like I was overthinking. I was like, okay, how do I put this liner together and make sure it's really, really, really good? And in a way, it made it like the software, but also like the trading inside made it a lot easier. One thing I'd mention to anyone watching this is it's as in depth and straightforward as it gets, but don't skip. Like actually go through these.
Yeah, that's another thing that
A mistake
it's
I
funny
did. I
because
would rush through these sometimes because like I had like again I was doing a few different things and it's like I would rush them and then I would have to go back and you actually you think you're doing a shortcut but really you're taking the long way. So it's like just taking the time
yeah.
to go through these one by one, watch one or two a day, like go through these trainings like within like you'll be done before you know it, but like you'll actually have like a much better foundational understanding instead of like always having questions and having to go back. So that's one thing I'd recommend because I made that I made that mistake, and and then I figured it out. But yeah,
Yeah, it's that's another thing too, is like, and this isn't even just like talking about like the like program in general or anything, but a lot of people, whenever they try to do anything, they don't think about interdependencies
mm-hmm.
between the different parts of the whole. Like, I think you and I might have even talked about this before. You've heard of the word like totalitarian, right?
Yeah,
It's funny because when people use that word, that's actually that word. Most people use that word in the incorrect place. It's actually not, the word is not actually meant to be used politically. That's not what it is. Like, if you use that, like, look at the etymology of the word, the first half of the word is totality,
mm.
meaning like totalitarian. What that means is that it is the same concept applied in every single, oh shit, in every single direction, like across like a whole ecosystem, or across a whole like discipline or pursuit or objective even. So it's almost like a unitary, where like every piece is interdependent. It's not like marketing for marketing's sake, or you know, okay, we're going to do the landing page today. Okay, now we're going to do the fulfillment today. It's like, no, 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 no. There's an interdependency that makes the execution faster and more effective
Yeah,
at not only getting customer results, but also um, in terms of like boosting your own conversion rate and your ability to sell, because everything is so foundationally sound and put together properly, and it's all interlinked.
yeah. One other thing too, I've realized like when I mean this is going to sound very basic for guys who have experience running ads or marketers, but like whenever you're spending money on ads, don't look at it as like you're just spending. Look at it, it's like you're investing to collect data. Like just
Yeah.
reframing it in your mind is actually like much easier. And I've looked at this in like other ways too with like other lead gen systems. It's like you're investing to collect data in order to grow your business, but also get the right information to get to where you want to be. And so that's helped me a lot. And I learned that inside, like through one of the trainings that you broke down.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
another thing too, is that when you realize that, like, with no matter what offer it is, and this is always with, doesn't matter high ticket, low ticket, what niche, everything across the board, people always look at it, at like advertising, in such a like a black and white scenario of like they either made a return or they didn't. But in fact, it's a spectrum of gray, in that you have to, the earlier on the offer or business or angle is in its life cycle, the more you have to pay to learn in order to pay to earn.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you treat it like a science experiment, the better, because you end up being more emotionally detached and you become very much like numerically focused. You end up, just chilling out and looking at it objectively and not making emotional decisions, which is very difficult for a lot of people to do.
Yeah. And then me included, but like watching that training, it helped me. And then I was able to just chill the fuck out, like just,
Yeah.
and then much easier. Even now, like just in general, like it's much easier to do what I got to do within a business because you're not going to be as impulsive and you can just take a step back, which is super important.
I would say that that kind of outlook in general is actually more valuable than even knowing like tactics of how to do something. Is just like saying before you take any action, like, chill the fuck out and look at it objectively and emotionally detached. That is worth its weight in gold, because it allows you to go into any scenario and anything you're dealing with and just,
Yeah.
it's like one thing when I was in the military, like one of the only things I remember that I still apply now is like slow is smooth, smooth is fast. I swear to God, bro, I say that to myself every single day. If I ever like feel like, oh, I'm not making enough progress with this, that, the other, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Do one thing per day, and next thing you know, 3 months go by, and you just like, you're 5 to 10 times ahead of where you thought you were going to be, just by doing one, maybe two things a day, and just being super emotionally detached and just looking at it. Yep, volume over time, chill.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a quote from. I mean, this is a pretty controversial character, but I forgot what was the quote already. I think what's this called, Mr. Wes Watson. I think he mentioned.
Yeah.
There's a quote that he said. What was the quote? It's like I think it was the man who takes more pride in the steps it takes to attain the
Yeah.
results he can't be stopped, or something like that. There's like a lot of value in just that one saying. We're so easily overly focus on the outcome and end up taking impulsive decisions. But it's just like if you take pride in like the actions it takes to get the results, bro, like
That's
it will
it,
help a lot because naturally it creates a level of detachment, but by default it gets you what you want. When it,
well, yeah, and here's another thing on that whole concept of like self-programming and everything for just business in general. What I've noticed personally, when people talk about like detaching yourself from the outcome, it's like, well, okay, come on, bro. Like we're here for a reason. Like we are here to make money. There's like, that's kind of like an obvious, but what I've noticed is that when it comes to just business in general, I feel like most of the challenge or the game is actually changing your source of like where you get your dopamine from. And what I've noticed is that when you can start to finally learn and figure out how to attach your, like, your dopamine feedback loop to the inputs required to get the outcome, and that's how you operate, oh my god, like, it's game changer, because then you start feeling good about doing the inputs, which means that the output is just like a cool byproduct. Like the money coming in is just like nice. You know what I mean? Like,
right,
it's like what, with organic content is a good example of like, if you make the thing you get dopamine from the amount of views and followers you get, you just happen to be posting about your like business, and like you're doing it in like a lead gen content format, not just like stupid like reaction content view farming, but like actually it's about your thing. What's funny is that then you attach your dopamine feedback to like getting views and comments and followers, and it just so happens that a massive business builds itself. Same thing with ads. It's like if you make your input activity, how many ads can I make, and you start to like train your own dopamine of like every time you launch new ads, that's like a, that's where your dopamine comes from. Next thing you know, you never have a problem with creative volume because you're just a psychopath for making new ads and content and stuff like that.
Yeah. Good point. Good point. That's a little huge life hack for everyone's listening right now.
Yeah. In terms of what you would almost give as like a piece of advice to anyone considering joining, not even just like specifically like website factories, but just like inner circle or just anything here in general, what would you, if you were to say anything to that person, or if you were to go back and say to yourself?
Oh, that's easy. Commit fully. Like, if you're gonna do this, do it. Like, you could have something on the side, but if you really like you need to commit. You can either be interested or committed. So
Yeah.
the way I look at it, it's like, could you potentially do this and somehow see some traction, see some success? For sure, because there's a blueprint that just works.
You mean like if you're like half-assing it?
Yeah, but the reality is like your results will be most likely amplified exponentially if you just narrow the focus. And that's like with
Yeah.
anything that you do, but this sounds oversimplified, but like I'm telling you right now, if you just narrow the focus and like you get clear on what you need to do on a day to day. And like what Vince told you, you take pride in the inputs. You don't cut corners. It becomes
Yeah.
inevitable because but the issue if you split the focus from day one and you don't commit, that's where it causes issues, right? So
Yeah, that's my biggest frustration
mhm.
when dealing with like anyone inside or anything. The most I would say not even a frustration, but like one thing I'm almost like I just have those moments where I'm like, God, why? Is when people ask questions that are clearly because they are looking for a shortcut. When it's like, the funny thing about shortcuts is that they actually end up like delaying how long you make real progress. It's like when you actually because what happens with shortcuts is that you think about like anytime you've ever tried to like do a shortcut or take a shortcut, the thing you always tell yourself is that, oh, I'm gonna come back and like I'm gonna do this right later. I just need to get this like shortcutted now. The funny thing about that is the reason it delays progress is one, the thing that you shortcutted, whatever that may be in like fulfillment or advertising or anything, it lowers your performance while it's going. So your efficiency on your effort is lower. Second is that because you now have that open loop in your mind of where like your conscience literally knows that you cut corners, that open loop takes up mental bandwidth in the back of your head subconsciously. And that's actually, you might have experienced this yourself, but the more like open loops and like, this even applies to like life stuff.
Yeah.
The more open loops you don't have completed and fully like, all right, like conquered that mountain and it's like done, the more of those open loops that you have takes up more, like it's almost like RAM with the computer, and whatever you're actively working on makes progress at a slower rate. And the more of those open loops you have, that's why like what you're talking about with splitting focus, it's the exact same thing. And if you just have like 100 things that are not complete, you've basically psyoped yourself without knowing it. And deep down, like I'm not a person that gets anything done. So you never get anything done.
Boom.
Have you ever noticed that like if you go and take care of some like a monkey on your back that you've just had there for 3 months that you just like for no reason you just didn't do it, but when you do it the next day for some reason you just like get more stuff done?
all right away. Sometimes it's like within the hour. You're like, okay,
That is precisely why, is because of this exactly, where it's like, oh, that the more I actually complete things to 100%,
mm-hmm.
I am the guy that completes things to 100%. And you just start doing that
Yeah,
more consistently.
100%.
It sounds so dumb, but it's like, that's why there's some people that like, how do these people get so much done all the time? Like, you just like know people like that. And it's like, yeah, it's because they actually do things to completion. It's not 90%, not 95, not 99. It's like, it's completed.
Yeah, every time.
Yeah. And then you have more mental bandwidth to, you don't have a monkey on your back or free rent space in your head being taken up.
Yeah, clarity and being fully present, and
Yeah.
that's big thing too. So yeah,
Trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah. I mean, and any things in terms of like mistakes you made. This is a little bit probably like the last thing we talked, like mistakes you made
mm-hmm.
that that like totally did not need to happen from your point of view during the process of like
I've
getting up and
made many.
launching.
I've made many. So
Well,
I
I'm
mean,
saying like in this process of
yeah,
like launching, getting your first customers and everything
yeah,
from start to finish,
yeah.
things that you were like, dude, like, why did I do that?
Oh, one of them. I mean, the simple one was like waiting way too long to
Yeah.
launch. Like I waited. You could double check with it. I waited way too long. Like, and that was fully on me. But again, one of the mistakes I honestly did is like initially I also split my focus. Like that was a thing where I was like being taken. And the thing is, here the thing is like you could succeed. Everything works, especially like this program. The way it's structured, it's made in a way with a depth of understanding. It's simplified in a way as well where it's like it just works if you just do the thing right.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is like just not lying to yourself, right? I was lying to myself for a little bit of time where I was like I was following the program, but I was again doing the shortcut thing where I wanted the outcome way too quickly. I was rushing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was delaying it, and I wasn't being honest with myself. So one of the pieces of advice I would have for anyone, it's like if you do this, here's the thing: even if you're a marketer or you have an understanding of like copy and all that, like you will learn a lot going into the program as well. But like the biggest thing is like don't lie to yourself. Like especially if you're a pretty smart person, like we're pretty good at tricking ourselves. Like be
Yeah.
honest with yourself, and it's like, am I actually doing the things that need to be done in order to get what I want? And it's just like, is the program the problem or am I the problem? Or like, what's going on here? And like, take a hard look at the mirror and like check yourself. And that's one of the things where it's like, there's a while where it's like, okay, like I'm doing what needs to be done, but again, I'm splitting my focus. But it's like, okay, yeah, it's good enough. It's like, no, 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 no. Like, take a step back. Are you doing everything necessary to get to where you want to be? Yes or no? Are you fully present? Are you fully focused? What's going on? You know. So just being
Yeah.
with
That's one
yourself,
thing too, is like,
that's the thing.
yeah, like I think it's funny whenever I notice someone like dragging their feet, and then like I'll literally just tell them like, dude, the first time I did one of these,
Mm-hmm.
from like thought to first sale, was like 10 or 11 days. And like it's just, and like it's one of those weird situations where it's like, oh fuck, like yeah, I'm just dragging my feet, where it's like I could literally just do one or two, like just knock out one or two big things a day. And it's like from now having gone through everything, realistically, like it being 100% honest, almost just like, dude, what the fuck, you probably could have launched the whole thing in 2 weeks, 3 weeks,
Oh yeah,
huh?
easy, easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure, for sure. And
Yeah.
people listening, it's good that you're listening to this, especially if you're going to move forward and join this program because it's worth it's 1,000% worth it. Like there's certain
Yeah.
things like I would have had to learn like much later down the road, right?
And probably much more expensively.
And much more expensively. So it saved me like a lot of time, a lot of money. But also it's like now I'm aware of certain things. On top of that too, it's like I know like converting cold traffic for something like that realization as well, that's priceless. Like
Yeah.
it shifts the
That's a
thing as well.
crazy skill set, by the way. I don't mean to like extend this too long because I
Yeah.
know you got a call coming up, but like, dude, that's like, we'll make that the last thing that we hit on. The confidence of just being able to know that like I now know how to like turn on paid advertising and get direct to checkout customers and not be like in the hole and like break even or even in profit. It is a crazy skill set once you have that down, because a whole new world, a whole new like wave of like types of opportunities opens up of like I can run like any kind of business now.
100%. 100%. Yeah, it will shift the way you operate and think and look at things. So, yeah, if anyone's listening to this, it's like, yeah, this was like a no brainer. I'm like, more than like, yeah, this was like 100% worthwhile, without a doubt. And again, like, yeah, it's a no brainer. Like, if let's say you're looking for a vehicle where you can have more leverage, and you're looking, whether like you're an agency bro, whether you're a marketer and you're stuck with like clients, it's like this is a no brainer.
Web designers, like just
Designers,
like literally anything, and kind of like the
yeah,
whole like marketing. That's what I've noticed. Like the top two types of people that, or I would say two to three types of people, is like um, people who run like marketing agencies, people that like copywriters or marketing consultancies, anything along those lines. And then I would factor in like media buyers into that too, I guess.
mm,
And then people that obviously come from like web design or web development background also
yep,
do particularly well. I'm actually talking to another guy. His name's Kareem. He's also cooking right now. He's in the auto niche. And yeah, it's a good conversation, man. I know you got a call coming up in a couple minutes. So I'll cut it early just so you can get on everything. Any last takes for the viewers or pieces of advice?
yeah, full send. Like if you're gonna do this, go all the way. This is worthwhile. Like there's all the information you could imagine. Don't hesitate. Understand that like if you're gonna do this, commit. Like it's a no brainer. Yeah, that's really it on my end right now. So like I fully like I don't really do like interviews like this ever, and like I've paid people multiple times. I've paid for multitudes of coaching programs. It's like I wouldn't do this if I didn't fully trust the program and Vince and what he's built. And so yeah, yeah, that's really it on my end right now. So
Hell yeah, man. Well, it was great talking to you. For anyone that is watching this, if you're watching this on YouTube or anything, you can feel free to click the link in the description in order to learn more about our inner circle and like our program and everything. Yeah, man. Have a great rest of your day, and to anyone watching, have a great rest of your day as well.